Hi everybody, how you doing? How you been? How are things? This is Shane and Diana for Coffee Time number 11. I cannot believe this is our 11th video already. What do we got to talk about today, Diana?
Alrighty. Well, so many things, but that seems to be the case all the time because you did just say this was Coffee Time 11. I can't believe 11 weeks have gone by.
Yep, time flies like an arrow, fruit flies like bananas. I like that joke. Okay.
I know.
So what do we got going on this week?
Alrighty. Well, we got to talk about last week first, not this week.
Last week was busy. We got a lot of stuff done. We had a bunch of folks in the studio to come and glaze some of the things that they had already made with us. And we were busy making and trying some new things out ourselves. So it's been a pretty busy last few days.
Been a fun one. We had a plate class that happened Friday night?
Yes, it's Friday night.
It was Friday night. A lot of folks came in for that, and what an amazing amount of talent we saw that night.
Yeah, it was really great and inspiring, and it's really cool because we hadn't really planned on doing a plate class. We had some folks in a previous mug class that wanted to make plates as well.
Yes. And thanks, Michael.
Thanks. and now it looks like we're probably going to be doing a bowl class now, and maybe that'll be a theme. Maybe that'll be a make your own dinnerware series where everybody makes a cup and a plate and a bowl kind of a thing.
Yeah, what a fun thing. And you're going to be sharing some pictures of what they did in the video. But it was just wonderful, from a sculpted ear to a castle to those beautiful drawings.
Very graphic novel kind of.
It's just amazing. I could have watched her just draw.
Yep, it was fantastic.
It was wonderful. She just kind of came in. She sat so quietly, and all of a sudden I looked and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful.
It was really great. So we had folks coming in for that class, and then a couple of people came in to pick up some pottery that they had already finished. It turned out great. And a few folks to come in and glaze some of their.
I was off playing hooky.
Right, yeah. So I was in the studio glazing, working my fingers to the bone.
I was at the Delmarva Fiber Festival.
Right, the Fiber Festival, and it's not about cereal and bread, guys. This is about yarn.
I was off getting new yarn. My fiber friends group, we're all going to be doing the same shawl, and I was so excited. And this is the Luck of the Irish mini skein set.
So much green.
From my new friend Robin at Robin's Thomas Yarn Company.
Let me see if I can hold it up.
And yes, she is great. So if you do happen to like yarn, you could always check out her website, because she's just a phenomenal person. She was there helping each one of us, and she's holding them up, going, now hold it up. Let me see the coloring with your skin. and
Diana's feeling very green.
I am. Look at all this green. It's spring.
Thank you very much, Punxsutawney Phil, for 2 weeks of early spring. We do appreciate that.
And I'm just embracing green everywhere that I can.
Right, so we had
a glaze load too.
Oh, that's right. So we had
some of this is from the glaze load.
Right, we have some things to talk about from that last glaze load. You may remember those little cylinders that I made, those little bud vases. This is them right here on that Sheltowy brown clay, and I am beyond pleased with how some of these things turned out.
They're beautiful.
This was one of our glazes that we didn't really usually think much of, called Albany Slip Brown. And it's not normally one of the ones that we would show off and say, "My, isn't that beautiful?" But I got to tell you, my, isn't that beautiful? It's nice.
And the greenery from outside is left over from the plate class that I had.
Textures, right?
Textures.
So we also had, I also had some other cups. Some of my very favorite cups ever came out of this last load. This is just like a little juice cup kind of a deal, and it looks blue. There's no blue glaze on this. This is just honey flux, and I'm amazed, astounded even, to get that color out of it. But it's because we're putting it on that Sheltowy brown clay.
It shows off the different colors that it can become, I guess.
And I'm getting close to my very perfect mug form. This is a very good mug that I really, really love. We have indigo float on that. And then a couple of pieces also with the new green glaze. This is Jade. What's company makes this?
No, it's not Jade. It's Ivy.
Ivy. That's right.
It's Mako. Mako
Mako's
makes this.
Ivy.
It's one of their newer ones.
And I really love how that looks as well. And then, of course, this little round mug that Diana is very fond of. She says that it fits her hand quite well.
It does. It just feels so good.
So we're getting close to exactly what I'm envisioning with our mugs. Really good stuff came out of the kiln last week. Now, Diana, talk about
there was a couple more things that came out of the kiln that I really liked. We had a couple of our Dignity mugs that came out. One of them has already sold, so it's gone.
Sold the day it came out.
Yeah, it came out. The lady was watching the video and she called and she said, "Can I please come get one?"
Thanks, Karen.
Yes, thank you. But this is great because you can hold it with both hands, put your thumbs up here even, and it helps you to be more steady. And so great for people with Parkinson's, great for people that have carpal tunnel, and other things, maybe just that they're having an issue with one arm, all of a sudden the arthritis is really bad, and they want just a little more support, to have the strength to hold.
So I think this is gonna be a common theme for us. We're gonna have the Dignity ceramics from time to time, and maybe we'll do other cups like this. Maybe instead of having two full handles, it'll have one handle and then like a knob,
right?
Kind of a thing,
or just a little thing to go underneath, so that your hand could be underneath to just support it.
But very, very happy with how that turned out. Oh, that's your shamrock.
This was actually my very favorite thing that came out of the kiln, and it is my shamrock mug. And there's several things I like about this, actually. On top of the fact that I have the shamrocks everywhere. The colors, for one, because it's green, but right down to on my handle, and maybe you can put a close-up in of this, but
smiley face.
There's a little smiley face I put at the bottom of the handle. I just wanted people to hold the cup and feel happy. And it really does do that. I mean, even when you're washing the dishes and you're sitting there washing and all of a sudden you get this little smile, it's like, oh, that's very nice. But I love this one for that reason, but also because of all the greens, because there is the wasabi, there's the jade, and then there's the Amico seaweed.
Right.
So it's full of greens.
And it has some blue highlights that maybe we can get a closer picture of. You can see a little bit of the blue.
And that's actually coming from the seaweed reacting with those. So
very nice.
That was really nice.
I'm looking at your garden stakes over there too. They turned out really good.
That's right. I know. I'm just sitting here and enjoying having them near me.
Being nice and friendly and cozy with the garden stakes.
Yes. So I have my thyme one, and I know we did have a lady that I got so excited in our kiln unloading from the glaze that I didn't mention all of the glazes, and she happens to use the same exact standard 112 we do. So she was really listening to see what the celadons look like on them. So I did want to just share very quickly that this one is jade. This one is, be careful. This one is marigold, and I have to be careful with this one, guys, because
our first fatality.
I dropped it and it broke, and so he has fixed it with some super glue or Gorilla Glue or something.
It is not a permanent fix, but
after it does
have a
get
home
fixed,
in our garden.
Yes, it's going to go in our garden because I have a huge rosemary patch. In fact, there's some rosemary in there. And then this is Sky. A lot of people do not like the Celadon Sky on standard 112. I do.
It makes it a little grayer than straight up blue, but it's still a pretty color.
But it is, and I like that a lot. And then this one is Snapdragon.
And I'll make sure to get a nice picture of this up for you guys so you can see a closer picture of it.
So that way, if you're using Celadons and you want to know what they look like on 112,
now,
you can see
the cup you're using came out of this last load. This actually...
This was my second.
Right. This was, we had said last time that there was another cup with that balance on it.
And this is the one that has the handle style that I like, because I like to be able to slip my hand through. And I use both hands to hold my cup because my hands ache when they're cold. And recently I've been having lots of problems with aches and pains in my joints of my fingers.
So wintertime is a good time to have a nice big cup to wrap your hands around.
And the cup is nice and warm, and I just hold on to it, and it just feels good. And
you tried that with a little teacup, right?
Yes.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So Diana also has in front of her little pinch pot frog that we made she made that a long time ago. But it kind of goes with our color scheme kind of a thing.
I had to bring him. He makes me happy.
And this little guy is a pinch pot. And I think we need to give a little bit of respect to the really super simple, easy, no tricks or special techniques pottery. And maybe we'll have a pinch pot class coming up.
I love mine. This is a pinch pot too. This is a pinch pot. And then I added a piece of clay to it and made a gallery, which at the time when I made this, I didn't even know that was called a gallery.
But now we know, and I think we should do a pinch pot class for kids and for the young at heart, because there's something really fun about just playing with a mass of clay. It's just fun. Now, kind of along those lines, last week was, in addition to pulling stuff out of the kiln, we made some things too. Diana has here a couple of the plates that she made from our plate class as demonstration plates.
Yes.
And this is the kind of thing that
I didn't take a long time on these. I just because I wanted, I wanted to have some things for them to see, just to give them some ideas. And then, maybe they'd say, "Oh, that's something interesting."
That's a good idea.
Not that they copied it. I didn't want them to copy it, but just to give them an idea to let yourself go. And I really like this butterfly thing. My cousin Jennifer would really love this.
Yep. So
she loves butterflies.
Diana has the big plate.
Big one. And I really love using natural things. So this one actually has some pine needles from our pines outside the studio. And I picked up one of the pine cones from in the yard, and I just pressed that in as well. And then I did have to go in and add a little bit more of a stem to it. I did have the natural stem here and here, but this part
I'm really looking forward to that when it gets all glazed. It's going to be fantastic.
And actually, it was bowed this morning because before I went to the Fiber Festival, I put a foot on it real quick, and I forgot to turn it back over, and so it had slumped. But lo and behold, little did we know, I took a piece of wood, I put it on top, and we took some bags of our reclaimed clay and just put it
to weight it down. This is not dry yet, so we were able to get away with that. We would not get away with that if it was dry.
So, and I probably, after this, I'm probably going to put one back on it too, just to make sure it is pretty much down. So
with lots of cool things, and also talk about your bacon cooker.
Yes, I made some hand-built bacon cookers last week.
And this goes in the microwave, and you put the strip of bacon over the edge, so it's half out and half in. And then the grease runs down into the tray. And then when you're done, you just pour the...
And it has a hole from the inside that goes all the way to the bottom so that the grease will come out that hole and then go on out your spout as you pour that out. Some people still, keep their grease.
Right, they cook with it. We don't really do that.
We don't really do that, but our dogs do love to have it occasionally.
Oh man, they go nuts for bacon grease.
I think that's probably good for them, but it's a treat.
It's a treat. I don't think it's too bad.
Just like chocolate cake isn't good for us, but
it's a treat, right? So, and you also have your handle puller.
I do, because we had a question.
Right. Do you want to get to that yet, or let's wait for just a second to get to that?
Sure. Because I want you to talk about what you were doing.
Okay, so
it's really interesting and fun.
Way back a million years ago, I used to use a 3D printer a lot in my classroom for lots and lots of things.
I bought it for you for Christmas.
Right, as a Christmas present many years ago. And it's not a real expensive one. It's not a real big one. And now it's rather long in the tooth, but it can still do some things. So I had this idea a long time ago, a million years ago, that I wanted to make like bamboo flutes. So I had a copy of this book 20 years ago at least, and probably more than that. We had bamboo growing.
We lived at that time.
So this book is Simple Flutes, and I saw a video where somebody had made flutes out of clay. And so I got the idea that maybe I could make clay flutes too, but the problem is I didn't really have any way of extruding a small enough tube for the clay. So I used my 3D printer, and this was a fail. I got to tell you, the actual piece, what you're looking at, is after I cleaned it up and still tried to use it. But even this failed piece, it's all warped and bent, and it did not turn out 100%, but it did turn out 80%. And the 80% satisfactory die that I'm using in my extruder was able to give me a tube. Now the way it works is, I have this little piece that goes inside of a big metal tube that sits on top of this. And then I squeeze the clay using a big handle out of this form. And it works just like those things that we used to use with Play-Doh when we were kids for extruding the hair and stuff like that.
Yes. Oh, I remember.
And what it gave us was this imperfect, but still usable cylinder tube of clay. And this is a smaller one than what I had ever made before. And I'm definitely going to use a 3D printer to make a better version of the die that goes inside the extruder. But this die was able to make this clay tube that I've turned into a flute. Now, this is not even leather hard. I literally just squeezed this out this morning. It's still greenware. It's still wet clay. If I wanted to, I could take my hand and smooth the bumplies out and stuff. But in spite of that, I can play this thing, and it's I can't do that very often because every time I blow in it, it wets the clay, and like that's very bad. But eventually, it's going to be one of those.
Once it gets fired, I can't wait.
We're going to be able to make flutes now. And as I told Diana, I don't know if this is about the size of an elf femur, but I can very much see making a bone-shaped clay flute that looks like a femur bone. But so that was a huge success.
You're gonna have fun with this.
I'm gonna have so much fun with this. You're not even gonna believe it, guys. But the book that we have here explains the mathematics and the geometry, and there are ratios that we have to figure in. When we actually produce these, like to sell, they will be usable musical instruments that are completely playable with an actual scale. So until that time, this one's just for screwing around, and for giggles to find out if it worked, and it did. I put a cap on it with Diana's help this morning. She helped with the cap.
Why did we put a cap on that?
Well,
I'm just curious.
You can't. It wouldn't be a flute without that. It needs the cap in order.
So the
to
air
make
can
sound.
come out this end as well.
Right. Well.
So it's forcing it to go that way.
Exactly. If we had it out this side, we wouldn't have a flute. We just have a Weezer. Right. It wouldn't. It wouldn't make any kind of a flute noise. It has to be capped off. Okay. Now, if I wanted to make this into a recorder, then I would blow into this end against that hole, and then I'd be able to play like that. And we could do that too. That's also a thing we can do.
Well, you talked about ocarinas.
Right, ocarinas. We're going to be making ocarinas also.
You used to do that too.
Yeah. So I've made 3D printed ocarinas, and now it's time for us to stretch out and do some more imaginative kind of things. And I can't wait. I am super excited, you guys, to get after some of that musical kind of stuff. So ocarinas, flutes, and maybe some drums. Little drums would be
wouldn't
way
that be
cool.
Fun? That would be.
So anyway, that
this
was what we have been doing for the past week.
Well, what are the things called that you shoot?
Oh, those. What do they call them? They call them shakers. That's what they call them.
No, really?
No, they don't really call them that. I don't know what the.
But you could, I bet you could
maracas.
I bet you we could make them out of pottery.
Absolutely, we can. And anyway, we are super enthusiastic, super excited about where this is going to be going, and that pretty much wraps up what we did last week.
Yeah.
But now is probably a really great time to talk about the question that we had from Desert Potter. Was that
Desert Potter 100?
Desert Potter
on
100?
YouTube. Hi.
Hi. Thanks
so
for the
nice
question.
that you tuned in to us. We appreciate that. And you had asked before, and I did respond in the comment to what handle tool that I use. And so I pulled it up.
These are the tools that Diana used, for example, for this handle.
This handle, yes. I have two currently. They're both Kemper tools. You can actually buy them on Amazon. They're like $8 or less. They are very cheap. Some of the pottery stores, you can actually, if you get them online from them for free, but then they're shipping.
Eventually, we'll
but
sell
we
enough
have-
pottery to buy diamond core. We're
Yes.
not there yet.
But we have the HM1 and the HM2. Now the HM2 is too small for the cups.
It'd be
I
more
believe teacups. Yes, but the one that I used for this one was the HM1.
HM1.
And I did take a very awkward video, little short one, of me using the tool because it's not pretty to use. I don't know how people make it look so pretty, like, oh gee, just pull it through the clay and look, it's wonderful.
By magic, you have to clean the handles up quite a bit.
Yes.
So there's a relative amount of cleanup time, but the advantage to it is your handles are super consistent.
Yeah.
They're going to be the same size every time. Unlike the handles that I make, where I pull my handles, and this is actually a good example. My handles are going to be different every time. And if I have to make one that is exactly the same size, it's going to be tough. I can come close, but if you want super consistency with the handles, either using a handle puller like this, they call them handheld extruders. You're not really extruding the clay, but they call them that. Or our wall-mounted extruder would be good for that too, but that's a major undertaking.
Yes. And there are different brands of them out there, all in different prices. And I saw one online when I was looking that was like maybe $20 for the tool, and I thought maybe that would be worth a shot trying it.
So thank you very much, Desert Potter 100 for the question. That's the specific tool we use for the handles.
Yes, so it works.
Yep. All right. So now, what about next week?
Okay, so flutes, ocarinas.
I'm going to be making another version of this that is better. I'm going to make a new and improved version of this disc. And I'm going to babysit my 3D printer to make sure it doesn't do anything funky while I'm not looking at it, because that's what happened. I'll show you a picture of what this was turning into before I rescued it, and I did save enough of it that we could use it. This is not ideal. Like I said, this was 80% satisfactory. I'll have a 100% satisfactory one this week.
Well, and you did tell me you would also help me because I want to make some texture rollers. And I would really, really love to take my own design and turn it into a texture roller.
And also, the texture roller, for sure, we need to 3D print our maker's mark. Right now, when we put our maker's mark on the bottom, it's just a little WP.
If we remember to do it.
If we remember to do it. And the reason I put that down quickly is because I didn't remember to do it on that one. But I did remember to do it on this one. So we just hand draw the little WP for walkie pots, and it's easy, but it's not consistent. So we're going to use a 3D printer to make our maker's mark that we'll stamp on the bottom of our mugs.
I think that'd be nice.
Yep.
Yes, and I have an idea to do a class in the future for a house number plaque.
Oh.
And so, I don't know, maybe something like that would be useful
we
for
could
making the
print
numbers
out,
because, you could make the numbers large enough that they would be able to be seen, or a person's name or something. That's in my mind. So
lots of cool ideas for a 3D printer now that it's up and running. It's been like 2 years since I used it.
Yeah. The mail lady delivered something.
Oh yeah, so I didn't bring it out with me.
Yeah.
We bought some silk screen material, polyester silk screening material, like you would do for a silk screen T-shirt, same kind of deal. And we're going to be silk screening designs onto paper. And we're, instead of using ink like you would for a T-shirt, we're going to be using underglaze. So we're going to be silk screening our own underglaze transfers onto newsprint or rice paper, and then whatever design we come up with, we'll be able to put it on a cup. And basically, what that means is we're going to be able to make some very sophisticated, very detailed underglaze transfers, right? And of course. We kind of loved the underglaze transfers we've been using so far, but they're not ours. We didn't make the artwork for that.
I have a hard time using them, truthfully, because I don't know. I don't know. I guess I try to save too much of it or something.
Right. If we're making our own,
I'm more likely to use it.
And we can make anything we can draw. Like literally, if we can draw it, we can make an underglaze transfer of it. And we're going to be using a combination of techniques. The Cricut Maker we'll use to cut the vinyl. But I'm very much looking forward to using my iPad and Procreate to actually draw the things that we want to use on our mugs. So look forward to seeing some of that stuff very soon.
It's going to be a work in progress, so I don't know exactly how long.
It'll take us a while to get finished with it, but yeah.
Yes. Oh, and then of course, so we talked about some of the things that we were making next week. I didn't get to casseroles last week, but so many other things to do.
So many things to do.
I might get to them this week.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again.
I've got plants on my brain.
There are way more cool things to do than time to do the cool things.
And in all honesty, I want to make more frog jars this week, and I want to make fairy houses. So the casseroles might just wait again.
They might have to.
They might.
But that's okay.
I want these little fun, whimsical things. I'm in that kind of a mood, so I guess I should go with that.
Go with it. That's right.
With that.
Yep.
We do have a mug class coming up on next Saturday, February the 10th.
We still have a couple seats available for that. If you have already taken a class from us, come on back and make another mug.
Yeah. Make a mug for a gift.
And if you've never done this before, the mug classes are appropriate from kids ages 5 all the way up through adults. Literally anybody that can, get their hands squishy in the clay can leave with a good mug from us.
Yes, and we have some people who were with us for a previous mug class coming in later today to glaze theirs. And this week we do have a bisque load that we're getting ready to put in again because the plates are drying fast. Everything is drying fast. We have very low humidity right now. We're trying to slow things down, but those plates are going to be ready to go in.
We currently have a bisque load in the kiln, and our kiln is at 354 degrees right now, and we can't crack the lid open until it gets to 100 degrees, but that is loaded, and we'll have another load ready for it.
And I think your bowls from the wheel throwing class,
the wheel throwing bowls
they're going to be ready to go in. Some of the crab mugs are ready to go in. Quite a few things.
Lots of cool stuff.
We'll fill it. It seems like we filled the kiln in no time.
Well, we wired up the studio with the possibility of having to get another kiln eventually. We're not there yet, but we are keeping that kiln packed and firing quite a bit.
Because we should with this coming out, we should be getting ready to do a glaze load, but
we have too many.
I'm ready to take just a little short break from the glazing. Last week again was one of those heavy glaze weeks, and my poor hands just can't take it.
We're gonna have to get the intern to do some of the glazing.
Yes, but his turned out really nice. So, but I think it's going to be a wonderful week coming up. He starts his Salisbury Youth Orchestra back up this week, so I will be on Thursdays taking him up.
I am not going to be making a ceramic saxophone, however. That's what Christopher plays.
Yes.
I'm sticking with flutes.
Yes, but I think he's going to be happy with the flutes. I do.
Well,
so,
they're going to be
But
cool.
my goal this week is just to spend as much time out here as I can, and
Well, the good part about that is it's fun.
Make. I've been glazing so much. I really just want to make.
Right. Well, that's what we have in store. Anything else coming up?
I don't believe so.
Well, we'll look for updates on our Facebook and our Instagram. I still have a little bit of coffee.
I do too, but I'm almost done with mine because I have loved drinking out of my
cup. I got to do the YouTube thing. Like and subscribe our videos. And also, don't forget to hit that bell icon so that you know when our new content comes out. And we're doing these fairly frequently. So the next video you see might not be a coffee time. It might be another kiln unload, or it might be a video explaining the processes that we're using in the studio. But if we're done, let's go ahead and wrap it up.
We're having a good time.
We're having a great time. All right, guys. Toodaloo, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Take care. See you later. Have a fantastic day no matter where you're at. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.